Soy del Pueblo is taking you on a trip to Xian, China, to see the Muslim district, the Terracotta Army, Tang Dynasty, music and dance performances, and modern Xian. More than 3,100 years old, Xian was the ancient capital of 5 Chinese dynasties. Because the Silk Road began here, it was an international crossroad and has numerous ancient Buddhist and Taoist temples, as well as ancient Islamic mosques. A large Chinese Islamic population still lives here. Xian is the home to the Terracotta Army. From ancient times, the Chinese buried living slaves as sacrifices to their dead owners. In 678 BC, King Wu started the practice of burying his entire court with him. The largest ritual killing of a court was in 537 BC by GONG. He buried 186 living people. This practice was subsequently abolished by Duke Xian in 384 BC. And terracotta clay figures replaced live people. 65 years after GONG's funeral, China's 7 kingdoms plunged into over 259 years wars with each other. The wars ended in 221 BC when Qin Shi Huang conquered all of China and crowned himself the first Chinese emperor. Centuries later, on March 29, 1974, farmers digging a well for water unearthed his necropolis with a terracotta army of over 8,000 living-sized soldiers, 130 chariots with 520 horses and 150 cavalry horses, as well as officials, acrobats, strongmen, and musicians. Ironically, he most likely died of mercury poisoning, which was used in various elixirs his court doctors and alchemists concocted as a treatment for immortality. In case it didn't work, he constructed an enormous tomb. According to ancient accounts, it includes replicas of the area's rivers and streams made with mercury flowing to a mercury sea through hills and mountains of bronze with precious stones and pearls representing the sun, moon, and stars. There are models of his palaces, pavilions, and offices with crossbow booby traps to thwart would-be plunderers. Experimental pits dug around the tomb have revealed life-size dancers, musicians, and acrobats caught in mid-performances. Chinese archaeologists, using remote sensing technologies, probed his unexcavated tomb mound and found high concentrations of mercury. So, further excavations of the tomb are on hold because of the complex conditions inside. Later in Xian, during the Tang Dynasty, in the early 600s AD, literature, music, visual, and theatrical arts flourished. The Silk Road made it the world's biggest metropolis, where caravan routes connected it with Asia, India, Persia, and the Mediterranean. In 618 AD, a golden age arose under the second Tang Emperor, Li Xiaoming, who took the title Emperor Taizong. He created 2 forms of dance, the martial and civil dance. He first created the martial dance to depict battles that established the Tang Dynasty 15 years earlier. His master swordsman devised a sword dance. However, the most famous sword dancer was a woman, Lady Gong Sun. The most elaborate martial dance of the time celebrated the power and grandeur of the imperial army, with 120 dancers, including chariots, accompanied by music adapted from folk songs composed by Li Shai, and sung by 100 singer choir and 100 musicians with gongs. Although Emperor Taizong killed his 2 brothers and overthrew his father to become emperor, he was an enlightened ruler and one of the most successful of all the Chinese emperors. He believed in governing by civic virtue, with an emphasis on constructing a healthy economy and in educating the populace. In 633 AD, he created the civil dance to celebrate his philosophy of governing. When he treated his ministers to a grand banquet to commemorate his philosophy, he wrote poetry and commissioned musicians and choreographers who created the first civil dance, the Children of the Pear Garden. The Tang Dynasty established 2 state offices for the training of performers. Later, the Tang Emperor Xian 712 to 755 AD opened a 3rd school to musicians, dancers, and actors. Because it was established in the Pear Garden of the palace, the school became known as the Pear Garden, and Chinese actors and actresses still call themselves the children of the Pear Garden. With a population of 9 million, Xian is one of the 13 emerging megacities in China. Although Xian's contemporary rulers don't bury slaves with them when they die, nor, like the megalomaniacal first emperor, force 700,000 men to build his tomb with his terracotta army, they do sell their workers for slave wages. According to Lehman, Lee & Shu law firm, with approximately 3,000 computer students graduating annually from 100 Xian universities, the software and IT industry benefit by paying them about $120 a month. One wonders how these graduates survived when a 1-bedroom apartment in Xian costs approximately $309. While the hedonistic emperor Xuanzong imprisoned tens of thousands of beautiful women to live in his Shangchun palace to please him, the Xian municipal government has converted its 50 acres into the largest public recreational park in Xian. With a mind to placate senior citizens whose average monthly pension is only $244, Xian Communist Party offers hundreds of seniors a place to sing, dance, exercise, and play traditional Chinese instruments in the park's well-kept grounds, bridges, structures, and lake. However, the corrupt and avaricious Communist Party rulers of Xian need to remember, throughout Chinese history, when the people were so exploited, they have overthrown even the most tyrannical rulers.